How's it going, everybody? Season 3 of this year just launched and we have a few changes we need to go over. This season has no new character, but mid-season has a hero skin. At the moment, absolutely nobody knows what it could be. It's an absolute mystery not even the best monkey detective can solve. The testing grounds feature Highlander, a rework that's been cooking for God knows how long. But the takes on it have been even better. I don't even know whether I should focus on the changes or entertain myself by deciphering what changes Highlander should have received according to my fellow content creators, and of course Reddit. It is quite something. And same goes for the Lawbringer rework. For both of these we will take a closer look in separate videos. Were the changes enough to keep you wanting to play the game? Or maybe you are looking elsewhere? What is it you mean, Freeze? Is there another For Honor killer on the horizon? Well, you tell me. Every once in a while a game comes along that tries and take a swing at it. And it is today's sponsor. From the Far East comes Warhaven. A free-to-play 12 vs 12 medieval fantasy combat game. The launch is close, the early access starts on September 20th and you can already wishlist it on Steam. So what does it offer? Well, for one, you can play Medjay on a horse. Or maybe not. But you can play one of 6 different classes, and it's pretty clear that we will pick the guy with the best grin. This is just glorious. Who would ever pick anybody else, really? Who cares about weapons like swords, spears, hammers? That smile is what will grant you victory. It is the purest form of a morale boost. As this implies, you can play in a team, or choose to solo to achieve victory on the objective-based game modes. The combat is easy to pick up, attacking and guarding against attacks can be done with a simple click on the mouse. And if you do well enough, you even get to transform into an immortal. Or maybe Medjay is immortal. You can play other characters like Valkyrie or a monkey too. For that, you have to go and check it out yourself. There is a link down below in the description that you can follow to participate in this game's launch. Fast-paced and nuanced combat paired with with a variety of different characters that have epic powers to turn the tides of battle. Like I said, click the link down below, check it out yourself. There is no use me telling you with pretty words what you are going to experience. Do it yourself. Form your own opinion and give it a try. You're a grown-up, I hope. Game launches on the 20th and it is free. You got nothing to lose, really. Alright, let's get straight to the changes. Medjay not on a horse, but with some nerfs. First, damage changes. Staff, chain and finisher heavies have gotten their damage reduced. All chain heavies, no matter the side, do 28 now. And all finishes do 30 now. Side doesn't matter anymore. That's a reduction of 2 and 4 respectively. Since Medjay's passive feats increase his damage anyways, he shouldn't really be suffering from this all too much. He's more in line with the rest now. What will impact him quite a bit though are the hitbox nerfs. I'm not gonna go over every single one as you can see them on screen anyways. Affected are lights, heavies and the zone attack in staff mode. These now do match the weapon's animation quite well, but since this was what gave him the title of one of the strongest force characters, this knocks him down a peg. Because of high damage and hyper armor, he pretty much traded favorably each time. But now if you don't reach, you're not trading anymore. You might be armoring through the attack, but if you can no longer hit that external target to the far side, or even behind you, then, well, it's not great, obviously. In particular, his zone hitbox feels like to have gotten a little overnerfed. The hitbox behind the Medjay seems very much gone now. There was no question this needed changing, and so far, he seems to have not been hit by it too hard, but we'll see over the course of the next few weeks, particularly when the Into the Fray tourney rolls around, how much of a power pick he still is. The Staff Bash is still a great ganking tool, so I expect to still see him. But moving on, since I mentioned ganking tool, Storm Rush changes on Orochi. One of the most egregious ganking moves we've ever had. It was a pin that could pin off of other pin moves, allowing for some nasty infinite loops that once caught in them, allowed for rather easy 100 to 0 ganks. That was removed. No more pinning off pins, and no more guaranteed light after landing Storm Rush. The latter will probably impact your everyday gaming way more than the removal of pin from pin. Hit stun on the target is shorter now, which means that ganking partners have a narrower window to land their follow-up attacks. It is still a pin. I think we were forgetting that a little when we talked about this change in the past. You can still confirm full damage since there is no hit reduction after it. It just became a lot harder, or rather impossible, to loop it and set up longer gank chains. In my opinion, there is little reason to use it anymore, and instead just do simple ganks instead. Normal bash or light confirms are way easier to successfully pull off than really tight windowed ones with Storm Rush now. The move still has its place in some ganks, but its potency is now completely gone. I'm looking forward to people coming up with fancy stuff and proving me wrong here, to be honest. The character is far from bad, and we will still see him pick lots, especially in normal matchmaking. So, fear not, Orochi mains, your character is still pretty strong. Moving on to Pirate, her changes are a little bit more intricate. Not what you see on screen right now, as that's just showing that her finisher heavies do 24 damage now. With intricate, I mean the changes to pin duration and recovery on some of her moves. One of these moves that have been changed is the unconfirmed gunshot that you get after a block or whiffed heavy. That one recovers 33 ms faster now. Seems like a small change, but this makes the move, or rather its follow-ups, a lot safer to interrupt attempts. We all know how people just randomly throw lights into your chain in hopes of interrupting, like a feint to guard break for example, or in Pirate's case interrupting her straight out of her chains because of long chain links, slow recoveries and late hyper armor startups. So after an unconfirmed gunshot lands, you can pretty much continue with whatever as Pirate. You are frame advantaged. One of these moves is also the buffed Cavalier Dance. Cavalier Dance is her forward dodge heavy. It has been sped up by 100 ms and her hyper armor kicks in ever so slightly earlier. This allows her to continue chains with the dodge cancel and remain plus most of the time. Sometimes it's neutral and she will trade with it. The one move that stays negative is walk the plank after a confirmed gunshot. Despite recovering 100 ms earlier and pinning for 33 ms more, it is still light interruptible. You need to give up on extra damage if you want to stay positive. And then the last change is to her side dodge attack, the Grand Cavalier. It is 533 ms now instead of the old 600. Itukiri also got a small change. Her zone attack stamina cost is down to 20. That's nothing major, the character pretty much stays where she's at in terms of viability. Now the last big change we're talking about, that is Reflex guard removal. Personally, I think Ubisoft should have never told us how long this took. 2 years of animation work to flesh this out might sit wrong with a lot of people. Thankfully, it's a change that most people are happy with, so I haven't seen much backlash. The animation quality varies a lot between characters in my opinion. Shaolin and Shaman, for example, have terrible looking transitions from finishes back to certain guard stances. It almost seems like only one transition was made for each move, meaning the transition back to one stance but not the other two. There is a lot of snapping happening. Whether you like the stance itself is a totally different matter. Personally, I do miss Zerka's neutral stance already, but others like Nusha, well, they look really good to be honest. I'm not a stickler for animations, but I know other people are, and it bugs them. Shaolin's or Gladiator stances do look a little silly. Gladiator top guard looks like him guarding against sun glare rather than defending himself against attacks. But I think we'll get used to it eventually. I also hope that Ubisoft will still do some polishing here and there, like it's an ongoing change. Like I said, some look awful, and that's not an exaggeration. The patch had a few more things, but we'll look at those in other videos. Lawbringer rework, or revamp like we're calling it now, has dropped. The Highlander testing grounds are currently underway. Well, there are a few things to unpack, both the changes as well as the community's reaction. I was already asked, Yo Freeze, where is your newest I Hate Lawbringer video? So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Considering the comments I see, might have to make one of those. You know how that 38 damage light parry sure ruined him as a defensive hero? Didn't it? Oh well, for now, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.